Blessed are you, O Abba, O Elohim, King of the universe. Father, we give all praises to you for your only begotten Son, Yahuwah. We thank you so much, Abba, that you have given us the way of salvation through your Son. And you have given us, Father, the instructions of how we should live. We ask your blessings upon today's class to open our minds to understanding. I pray that you lend me the spirit of understanding, lend me the spirit of wisdom, of fine speech, that I can be able to deliver your words as you instructed. I pray blessings upon the whole house of Israel. May you gather us in our lifetime. Abba, we thank you, we glorify your name, we thank you in Yeshua's name. Amen. Hallelujah. All right, brothers and sisters. For those of you who are joining us again for the first time or continually, say Shabbat Shalom to you. Some of you all are probably scratching your heads. What do you mean Shabbat Shalom? Saturday's a Shabbat. Well, we have had those discussions and shared with you all that the Most High has given us a calendar that can be found in the book of Genesis chapter 1, verses 14, so forth. Then you will say, well, the sun, moon, and stars were made on the fourth day. How could you have a Shabbat? Well, think about it. Some say, well, it's based on the sun. Some say it's based on the moon. Some say it's based on the stars. Some say it's based on calendars that man has made. And some say it's based on shadows. Some say it's based on the tides rising and fall. Some say it's based on a whole bunch of different things. We saying it's based on everything that the Most High said it's based on. Right? So we let his word speak for itself. I know people have their different understanding. That's fine. That's fine. We are going to show from the scriptures what thus saith the Most High. And it's so simple that sometimes when things are presented simple, people who are accustomed to complex reasoning, to them it has to return. It has to be delivered in a complex format. Our calling number, Mishpachah, for those of you who would like to call in and share your thoughts, it's 605 in the United States, 475-2875. If you're in England, the UK, it is 0330-777-1307. If you're in Canada, it is 867-292-3030. And you can put in that code number, which is 924-8738. And we can be able to talk to one another. Okay? So we're looking at Pentecost. The world knows it in the Greek tongue, which is Pentecost. Pente. What does pente mean? Anyone knows? It means what? You can speak into the mic. Don't forget the microphone is there for a reason.
Yes.
Okay?
50.
All right, 50. So it means 50. I would like our brothers and sisters, if you're on the conference line, to tell me when is Pentecost. And I'd like to hear your understanding as far as Pentecost is concerned, and then we'll share what we have discovered in the scriptures, okay? Just to remind everyone, of course, of the delay. So I'll give you all some time. Tell me, brothers and sisters, what is your understanding with Pentecost? Is Pentecost the name of a church? Is it a movement? Pentecostal movement, Pentecostal church. Where does Pentecost come from? And things like that. We'll go into that, and we'll examine what the Bible is saying with regards to Pentecost. Okay? And we'll try our best to bring out the full meaning of this. To begin, let me pull it up on the screen here too. And y'all can turn with me to the book of Acts chapter 2. Book of Acts chapter 2, if you have your Bibles. Let me try to pull it up for our brothers and sisters worldwide. The book of Acts. Acts chapter 2. Because there are many who believe that Pentecost is a movement of speaking, whatever language that moves you, and that's what it is. But we'll see what the Bible says, okay? Yeah, gibberish. And you can find the same gibberish outside of Israel or outside the church, right? You can go to, we showed this before, you go to the Muslim mosque and they're speaking blah, 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 too. You can go to India. You can find the same gibberish, same thing, but they don't understand and they don't know what they're talking about, and up to this day, there's no one to interpret that either. So let's read Book of Acts chapter 2, and let's take a look at verses 1. Go ahead and read.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
So notice carefully, it says the day of Pentecost. It's a day. It's not a movement. It's not a church. It's a day. When the day of Pentecost was what? Fully come. Fully. That's important. That means to say that something is building from a small little one. It's not like a full moon. That's when things start. It's not an offering. It's something that starts from small, from one, and from zero, or from one, I should say, and builds until it comes full, complete. Okay? So when it was fully come, what happened? Read.
And suddenly...
Now read it. When it was fully come.
They were all with one accord in one place.
So they were all with one accord in one place. One accord, that means I'm not coming with my mind. I'm gonna cut that brother, or I'm gonna cut that sister because the way she looks, or whatever the case may be. We're not coming for problems. We're coming with one spirit, one mind. Okay? And we're all in one location. Read on.
And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind.
So the sound or the origin, whatever it is, it came from where?
Heaven.
It didn't come from some man just all of a sudden his mouth started to move. It came from heaven, right? As a what?
A rushing mighty wind.
Read on.
And it filled all the house where they were sitting.
Notice it says it was a house. They were one accord where?
In a
place. Church. One church.
No.
One church. How come the Pentecostal movement is not in a house? They're following the origins of this right here. It says it filled all the house where they were what? Sitting, not gyrating on the floor. Sitting, read.
And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them.
Now, for you to be able to describe cloven, it must be seen. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard the Babylon and see cloven fire? Anyone? Have you
No.
seen the fire?
Never.
Elder, have you seen the fire?
No.
Okay, so something is just not adding up so far. We're going down the checklist, and so far a lot of things is just not adding up. Okay? All right, so they saw cloven tongues like as fire, and they sat upon one person.
Each of them.
Are you sure about that? Are you not reading the nearly inspired version?
No.
That's what the Bible says, right? Okay. Verses 4.
And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues.
With other tongues,
as the Spirit gave them utterance.
So wait a minute. It's the Spirit that's controlling the show?
Absolutely.
As the Spirit gave them utterance. So it's not them saying, I got a word. Are you sure, Elder?
No, nothing like that.
So they're not in control. It's the Spirit of the Most High is in control of everything, right?
The Spirit controlled them.
All right, let's continue on.
And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven.
Every nation under heaven. So we have the dispersion, the scattering of the southern kingdom, right? Come into this event. It's called Pentecost. We will explore what that means. But continue on.
Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language.
So this house had all of this speaking happening, and those that were outside the house came close to hear what was happening. They heard people speak everyone speaking his own language. So they all understood what's being said. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so there's no babbling, and I'm trying to figure out, what are you saying? Let's continue on.
Yeah, the tongues means languages.
That's what tongues mean. That's right.
Languages, not babbling.
That's correct.
That we can
understand. It's something that the Most High included in the languages when he caused the language to be divided.
That's right.
According to Genesis chapter 10.
11.
10, 11. 11. Thank you. 11.
So
Genesis 11 says he caused the people speech to be changed, okay? And everyone went wherever the group formed groups based on language. Is that correct? All right. So let's continue on.
And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans?
Galileans, right? And just one quick note about the language. Who was the king of Babylon or Babel at that time?
Nimrod.
Nimrod came from which one of the sons of Noah did
Ham.
Nimrod originate?
Ham.
From Ham, right? So when the Hamitic people who resided in Babel in Iraq was confounded, now Ham is supposed to be people of color, right? So when Ham was spread out, they were confounded with different languages. You have people of color speaking Portuguese, is that correct? Speaking Spanish or whatever it is, speaking different language, going throughout the earth, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. That's all I want to bring. Because did Japheth reside in Babel at this time? No. But parts of Shem was there, right?
Yes.
Because that's where Abraham, who came from the lineage of Shem, that's where he dwelt.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Just want to put that out there because a lot of times we believe that Spanish is a white man language or Portuguese is a white man or Caucasian language and whatnot.
English.
If the languages was divided up under the empire of Hamitic people and spread throughout the world, then the origin is from people who had color. We all understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they asked this question, behold, are not all these people who are speaking Galileans? So there's a dialect in Galilee, right? Let's continue on.
And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born?
Every man in his tongue wherein we were born.
Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea and Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia. Phrygia, and from Philia, in Egypt and in parts of Libya and Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes.
So when it says Jews and proselytes, these are all of the diaspora. Proselytes are those who are returning back to the covenant. They had to be re-instructed in the way of the Torah. Again, you know, we have a history under the Maccabean period many of the Yuhadim, the southern kingdom, had converted and became as Gentiles. Remember, right? So
Yes.
now they're returning back to the covenant, and they have to go through this process of learning all over again, circumcision and all those different things. So these are the proselytes it's talking about. Read on.
Cretes and Arabians.
Mm-hmm.
We do hear them speak in our own tongues the wonderful works of Yahweh.
That's all we need. So now this is the day of Pentecost, and we're going to look at the counting down to this event. We're not focusing on the tongues per se, languages. We're not having a study on speaking in tongues. That's not what this is all about. We're researching the calendar part of Shavuot, so we can all be on the same page when the time arrives. Now I'm gonna do probably 2 more classes about Shavuot from a different perspective, so you'll understand this from a more Hebraic way. Okay, so let's leave that, and let's go back. And let's take a look at this disclaimer. Kifa, you may want to go down to the disclaimer here. So we have this disclaimer here, and can you read for me? Psalms 119, verses 89.
It says, "Forever, O Yah,
Forever.
O Yah,
Uh-huh.
thy word
Your word.
is settled
Where is it settled?
in heaven."
So when the judge, and I don't have a gavel here, but let's turn this into a gavel for a moment. When he has the gavel and that's it, case dismissed or whatever, that's settled. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
So his word, it says forever, and I put that in red so we all can see. Forever.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's complete. There's no place that you can jump in and interject, whatever it is. He says, forever, O Yahuwah, your word, thy word, is settled in where?
In heaven.
In heaven. Not on earth, but in heaven. So there's no, well, let's go around it this way and let's do it this way. No, it's already settled. It's a done deal. One more disclaimer.
Cannot be undone.
Psalms 138 and 2. Go ahead and read that for us.
Psalms 138
Mm-hmm.
and verse 2. I will worship toward thy holy temple
Uh-huh.
and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name.
Notice it says, you have magnified. What does he magnify?
His word.
Again, the focus is on the word, not upon what I think or my opinion or whatever it is. It's his word. Thus saith the Most High. His word is magnified even above his, he says, all his name.
Yes.
Now, it can be one name and all of that one name, but he has many titles.
Mm-hmm.
What has been given to us are titles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sometimes a Christian church will say, Jehovah Nisi,
Jireh.
Jehovah Jireh. And they're saying all these different names as if it's like it's some formula that he will pop out of the I don't know, maybe a lamp or something and do 3 miracles and then disappear. No, he's our Father, number one. He's the Father of fathers, and he hears everything that has been said. We don't have to keep repeating over and over and over and over as if he's deaf and dumb. You just say it once, and he already knows, even before you speak, what your heart desires. Right? That's why the Bible says that when we pray, we're not to ask amiss. Because we're saying something, but our heart is saying something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's confusion. It's a contradiction. So we got to make sure whatever's coming out of our mouths have to be lined up with our hearts. Is that correct?
Yes.
All praises. So his word is important even above his name. And I don't know how the church misses this, but it's there for us to see. So we got that out the way. All right. Now let's go to Micah 4. We read this last night, but we'll read it again. Micah 4, 1 to 2. And this is just, again, to add understanding to know that what we're doing right now, brothers and sisters, we're going through a rehearsal. The rehearsal basically allows us to expose our true nature. Because when Israel came out from captivity, they didn't know everything in one shot. It took years for them to understand how to walk. But what the Most High was looking at was their willingness to follow Him. And that's where the problem is. So let's look at what the book is saying that's going to happen when He returns. Because if our heart is right, we make some mistakes. Yes, we make mistakes, but not intentional sin. Okay? This is what it says in Micah chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. Go ahead and read.
But in the last days,
And when?
in the last days, it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yah shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the mountain of Yah, to the house of the God of Yaakov.
So Jacob has to be a people gathered together and established. Is that correct? So the whole concept that has been given to us, sold to us every Sunday or even Saturday or whatever, Wednesday night, Sunday night service or whatever, Friday night service, is not correct in terms of Jacob is no longer in existence. Now we're a denomination. But the question is, and you can ask your former pastor, or if you're still in the church, ask your pastor this question. Which one of the denominations that is Jesus going to choose? Which one? Pastor, is he going to choose the Baptist denomination? And just give him some time to answer the question. All right? Just give him some time, and I'm sure he's going to say, well, we are Christians. He's going to bring all peoples from different places. So then, Pastor, do you mind if I go across the street? Then we're going to have a problem. You can't do it because this is where you've been fed. But why not buzz around and go other places, right? So they can't answer it because you can't find that in the Bible. It's about gathering peoples, families, tribes, not a denomination. Okay? He's not writing in the book of life what club, what membership, what club you're part of as a member. So read on, and he will.
And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yah from Jerusalem.
Again, his word is above his name. So getting caught up with the pronunciation is not something of importance to me. I'm not concerned about that. I try to get my lips as best as possible. As you get older, you can't even pronounce words properly anymore. Moses himself used to stutter. Remember?
Yes.
He says, listen, I can't even get 2 words out correctly. So the Most High says, you take your brother with you, Aaron, and he'll be your mouthpiece, and you're going to be as me. I'm going to put my character on you, and I'm going to take your character and put it on Aaron. Right? He's going to be the prophet, and you're going to be in my place, my shoes. All right?
Yes.
So the law has to go forth from where?
Jerusalem.
From Jerusalem, from Zion. Is that correct? So all the circling around Mecca and going, making pilgrimages to Rome. When the time comes and you go to Rome and Papa, that place will be destroyed, number one. All you're going to see is a bunch of wild animals running everywhere in Italy. You go to Mecca, that place is destroyed. Wild animals will be running all over the place. Right? But the only place you're going to find upkeep, beautiful, wonderful, glorious. Imagine Solomon built a temple of gold. Is that correct?
That's right.
What are they building in Jerusalem right now? Are they gathering gold together to erect a temple? Something's wrong there, right? So the word of the Most High is going to come from Jerusalem. I give all praises. Let's go to our next slide. Shalosh Regalim. Shalosh Regalim. Our next slide. You got to tap at me. Anyone has a long stick? Tap Kiefer a little bit. All right. So y'all stay on Kiefer and I'll stay over here. All right. So Shalosh Regalim. Let's look at what this means, okay? It's speaking about the festivals, the cycles that occur in Israel. There are three major festivals for the house of Israel, or Shalosh Regalim. The first one is called Pesach, or Passover. That's the first major feast. And we can see that in what book? Leviticus 23. And Exodus where?
Chapter 12.
Chapter 12 and also chapter 23.
23.
Let's go to Exodus 23. And there's also Shavuot, which is Feast of Weeks. And then there's Sukkot. All right? Now, these are, I put the three major names, but these are basically groups. First group is, of course, Passover. Begins with Passover, unleavened bread, and the first part of the first fruits, right? But the main part of the first fruit of the fruits is Shavuot, when it comes full, all right? And then you have Sukkot. You have, around that same period, you have what? You have trumpets, you have atonement, and then you have the 7-day festival of Sukkot, or Feast of Booths, right? All right, so these are the three main groups that is important for our people to learn. So I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to take my time and do this in parts. All right? So let's read Exodus 23. Let me pull it up on the screen so our brothers and sisters can see it. Just give me one moment. Exodus chapter 23. Probably have it again, but let's read it. And we'll pick it up at verses 12. No, you can go back. You stay where it was. Yeah, right there.
Verse 12 of Exodus 23. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thine handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed.
Now this is the immediate, the regular cycle of appearing before our King. Is that correct? The regular cycle. Shabbats. Let's read a little bit more, because this is important. And it's a hard thing for us to really grasp, but it's important for us to keep in mind and try our best to filter, remove from our minds some of the old systems. But let's read this, verses 13.
And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of your mouth.
So verses 12 pertains to a calendar that the Most High has made, because we need to look at his calendar for us to have a full understanding of when the Shabbats occurs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, included in this passage from 12 until 14 downward, he interjects, he makes a statement, and he says, of everything that I'm trying to tell you, I want you to remember this thing. He says, don't make mention of the name of other gods. Now, when we take the Roman calendar, what do we find being mentioned all the way through?
Gods.
Throughout the weekly cycle, all the names of other gods, right? And then even through the monthly cycle, what do we find? All the name of other gods. And it's difficult for our people to even have a conversation, right? To communicate with each other without mentioning these other names of other gods. It's difficult. So we're always finding ourselves pulling ourselves back, yanking ourselves back into captivity because we're trained to operate in that mindset. So this is the problem. Now let's continue to verses 14.
3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year.
So first one was the regular weekly cycle. Then the other one is the seasonal one. Now he says 3 times in a year you have to keep feasts unto me. 3 times in a year. Is he talking about only in the spring?
No.
Is he talking about just in the summer?
No.
Is he talking about just in the fall?
No.
Okay, so we're going to investigate that as we go through the study for today, because what you're going to realize is that the way that even the Ashkenazim, those who have stolen our identity, those who have converted into the ways of our forefather, they have the scrolls, they have a lot of the ancient writings, they control a lot of different things. They usually have Pentecost, and I'm asking you again this question: when is Pentecost? So for many of us, we know that according to the world, Pentecost occurs when? On a Sunday. Is that correct?
Yes. Always on a Sunday.
It always falls on a Sunday. So we have to ask ourselves a question. What's the sense of even counting anything if it's on a Sunday?
Yep.
Right? It's so easy to find. Just find a Sunday and boom, we're good.
Yeah. You count 7 Saturdays and then the next day is Sunday.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Very, very simple. I think that you all are familiar with that, our brothers and sisters on the live stream. Now, so 3 times in a year. Let's read on verses 15.
Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty.
All right. Now, I made a statement earlier, and I just remembered that I need to go back over the statement and touch on a very basic point. There are those who say, well, the luminaries let us know when day number 1 is and so forth. That is correct to a point. But they would say, well, the sun was made on the 4th day. So now if the sun is made on the 4th day and you say that's day number 1 because you had equal day, equal night at that particular time, we have a problem, because if you count 3 days from that, if that's day number 1 in terms of equal day, equal night, then Saturday, you get my point? That's not a full week.
4, 5, 6, 7. You have 3 days, and then it will be the Saturday, like you know. Right.
So then you don't have a full week.
No, you don't.
But you see, the problem is the way that we approach time. We approach time based on objects. Time existed before the objects were made. Is that correct?
That's right.
The Most High made the objects afterwards to reflect something that already existed. Like the wind. We can't see the wind, but there have to be something physically there to let us know that there is a breeze blowing. We have to be standing for us to feel, we have to exist. The breeze is moving around, right? And when the breeze hit Dod Shemuel, for example, he can say, hey, did you feel that? I just felt a cold breeze hit me. I haven't felt it yet, but he's letting me know what has occurred on his body. So the Most High has given us the luminaries, and when he has given us those luminaries, guess what he does? Just like a watchmaker makes the watch is already made, it's designed, but it's just sitting there in his factory. When you purchase that watch, do we say that time starts when you start the clock? You have to set the clock. The person who is selling you that watch will set the time for you.
The correct time.
The correct time, right? Because the time already exists.
Right.
What if they set the time to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, okay, for example, but it's dark outside.
It would be not
Stars
correct.
is up in the sky, huh?
It would be not. It wouldn't be correct.
It won't be correct. You can say, excuse me, you didn't set this correctly. And they say, well, I'm setting it to my time. So the person who's setting your clock is basing that on a time that already exists. When the Most High put the switch on the sun, moon, and stars, when he made Adam, he put Adam the age that he's supposed to be at. You want to say something? Don't forget there's another mic there too.
It's just like in Genesis when he mentioned he made the fruit already yielding seed. The fruit was there, the seed was already in it.
That's right.
He didn't just plant a seed and let it just grow from there. He had the fruit there and the seed was in it.
So time is just flowing by. Time is just theirs. It exists. And all the Most High did was set the thing in motion and set it based on the time that already exists. Okay? So when we pick it up based on the luminaries that is flowing from that point on. Amen? I hope this helps a little bit. But we will do a more in-depth study again on the calendar. There's a lot more information that we are going to bring out. Yes?
Also, there were 3 days that already existed before the fourth day. And he already separated day from night.
That's right.
Even from the first day. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So when you read the word in the fourth day, it says he made, or the word says he ordained.
Ordained.
So he's letting you know that those things was already from the beginning.
That's why it says in the beginning, Elohim made heaven and earth.
That's
everything was already made before.
That's
he just flipped the switch on it.
But then he started to, to work on it. Every day he said things as it's supposed to be. So that's what he's telling you.
And the same way that we have a period of so-called nothingness, but everything is there, is the same way when you have that new moon, that's that little slither of light, and then you start to count. You have in the beginning, and then you start to count. So there's much more to that. But let's continue on so we can get the full understanding of Shavuot, okay? So he says, read verses 15 again.
It says, thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty.
So this is the first of the feasts, which occurs in the spring. Abib means green barley, green ears, right? Springtime. Let's go to verses 16. You want to say something?
I want to say something also. If you notice, he said, in the time appointed in the month Abib. So if you're not starting the Passover in that month, as he said, you will never, and from your counting, you're not going to get the rest of the feast correctly.
That is correct. Some will pitch numbers like they're pitching dice. Let's take this number, divide it up, and this is how it works. There must be a beginning, a starting point. All right? A starting point. So, in the time appointed that he appoints to us, the month, the green barley also, when you came out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. Verse 16.
And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field.
Now, when he says, when he first say the month of Abib, that was one season. Now he's saying, and the feast of harvest. The feast of harvest. So, for me to have barley, to make barley cakes, unleavened bread, which is made from the barley, because the Bible says that when the Most High unleashed the plagues upon Egypt, the barley was in the ear. It was fully ripe. But the wheat was not even grown as yet.
That's right.
So it's letting us know that there are two different cycles, one for the barley and one for the wheat. A harvest of barley and a harvest of what?
Wheat.
Wheat. Okay? So the first one was unleavened, which is barley. And now he's making us know that, and the feast of harvest, which is a huge clue. So the people did not harvest the wheat as yet, because then you'll have two harvests that occur in the springtime. That's a problem. So then he says, and the feast of ingathering, which is when? The end of the year. So you have the beginning month, then you have the middle season, and then you also have the end of the year season, or this fall season. Okay? 3 times in a year. So the one that is the ingathering is what? The fruits, right? Fruits that you gather. I'm saying this and I'm stressing on it, making an emphasis on this for a reason. Because again, we have folks who they keep the Pentecost, and it still falls within the season of the spring. And that's a huge problem. So now you only have 2 seasons. You have spring and fall. Right. So what about the summer? Yes.
Where you have the harvest at the end of the year, there is a difference between when you have the fruits are ripening in the summer. You need that heat from the sun to ripen the fruits. In the end of the year, you have mostly like the vine fruits, where you have your pumpkins, your potatoes, your yams. Those things are ready in the fall.
That is correct.
Okay.
Very correct. Very true.
Yes.
Grapes and so forth.
Those, yeah.
Now, and again, brothers and sisters, if you take things from our modern perspective, you're going to have a huge problem. Because now a lot of things have been changed and altered physically, right? Genetic modification. And that creates a huge problem in our understanding. So let's try to get our minds in an ancient way of thinking. All right. So now let's go to verses. Yes, Brother Shamar. Shalom. How are you?
Shalom. Shabbat shalom to you and everyone else.
Before you speak, I want to say that I also appreciate your efforts and your help for the feast. I didn't get a chance. I forgot to mention your name and your family for coming out.
I already know that. All praises to the Most High.
All right, all praises. So go ahead, brother.
Yes, thank you too. The last feast also, if one would ask themselves, what are we in gathering for? Because then it would all make sense. Because the truth is you don't really plant anything in the winter per se. So you're gathering all of this, what's left of all the crops, which is normally like one of the biggest harvests at the end of the year, to have in store to go all the way back through to the beginning of the year again. So when you use the term in gathering, there's a period when you're not going to be truly be able to plant or farm because the earth is not going to be producing anything. And that's the reason why it's a problem keeping the new year in the middle of winter.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And also, it is a type of, the seasons help us to understand the plan of salvation. So ingathering is speaking about when it'll be the ingathering of all the nations. Everyone has to present themselves before the Most High. And then there's a rest period. The earth has to rest. You know, earth is symbolic of a woman. She needs a break. Can't keep taking stuff all the time. She has to get cold, no heat, so she can catch herself and rebuild all over again. Is that correct? The moon has to go dark to refresh itself.
That's right.
Right? The sun is always burning, always hot, ready to go. He's the one that's keeping things alive, right?
That's right.
But the earth has to renew itself. And the Most High He teaches us through nature, but we'll cover that shortly. Yes.
Yes. What I was going to say is that I was, raised on a farm basically, and my grandmother, that's what we did with the different harvests. So when I was set up with the yams and so on, they would tell you can't go digging for them until a particular time. That's when they're ready. So they're usually ready around October, around that time of the year, October to November. It will be ready, and that's when you can go ahead and you dig for it. Also, like the potatoes and everything. So now people are forcing those things to produce before the time,
Before
but
the
that's
time.
not how it was.
That's the point, and we have to always remember that we exist. Actually, we're in the end time, we're in the last days. You know, but let's continue on now. Did you finish read 16?
I think so. I think I did read it.
Okay, so let's read verses 17,
Okay,
and then we're gonna go back to our slides.
Yes, verse 17. It says, 3 times in the year
Mm-hmm.
all thy males shall appear before Yahweh Elohim.
3 times in a year, all your males shall appear before Yehovah Elohim. So, again, the reason why it doesn't say females is because the males are the ones who what?
Seed.
Carry the seed. So
Right.
we have the seed that has to present itself in righteousness.
Yes.
The first, the best crops, the best seed, presenting themselves before. That's why there are certain stipulations that you can't be this way, that way, or whatever it is. You got to be pure, keep yourself clean during that time. Same thing with the crops. Present the crops, the things that are bearing seed before the Most High. Everything connects. You can't separate one from the other. And that's one of the problems we find with many of the teachings that are out there. They will just give you one part of the equation and forget about everything else. If you do that, or you spiritualize stuff and say, well, it's all in the spirit, then you're going to be missing the whole picture. It's a complete package, right? So now let's go. So at these appointed times, Israel made pilgrimage to the temple as instructed. So before there was a temple, we had a meeting place, Sinai. We had a tent where the Most High came down as a cloud, and we all would be focused on that particular place. He placed his name there. When we moved camp and we set up camp somewhere else, that's where his name was placed, and so forth and so forth. Some people read and they forget that Israel was moving around through the desert. They thought, well, they were stuck in one place. Or he was just prophesying, saying, when you get to Israel and when you build a temple, well, was there a temple during the time of David? No, there was a smaller location, and he moved it from one location over to Jerusalem. Remember, right? And Solomon was the one who actually erected the final place, right? And that place was destroyed. So what do you do in the meantime? That's what, the problem is right upstairs, having that understanding. Before David, okay, so during the time of Saul, King Saul, what did they have? The time of the prophets, judges, what did they use? They were in Israel. Where was his name placed? Right? They were moving around. They were trying to get themselves established. So let's be wise. Let's be wise about everything that we do. Let's not complicate things. Yes.
And again, we have to
Let's
keep in mind and remember that harvest is based on the ripening of the grain and the moon pulling in the water into the crops and the sun ripening up. It's based on those things.
That's right.
So you cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore and say, no, you're not supposed to use this. This is how harvests are done.
That's right.
Okay?
So now we're going to move on our next slide. The ordinance. Anybody have the stick? The ordinance. The ordinance. Let's go to our next slide. So we already read Exodus 23, 14, and 17. It says, 3 times in a year, all the males shall appear before the Most High. It says, none shall appear before me empty. You can't be seedless grapes. Right?
That's
the
right.
same way in nature, when you present, you have to present something before the Most High, bearing seed. The males also have to present themselves as those carrying seed. Right?
That's why a eunuch was not allowed to come
A eunuch, that's correct. A eunuch were not allowed to come into.
Yeah.
Because what?
They have no seed.
They had nothing to present.
Right.
Right? Okay. Now that's another class. We don't want to open up anything there on that. But let's continue. So this is all about harvesting. So the reason why we're placing the emphasis on harvest is because we came from an agrarian society.
Yes.
Agriculture was the norm,
Yes.
right? So therefore, it is easy to understand the scriptures from that perspective. But in our day and time, how many of us are farmers? How many of us follow the seasons in terms of when is the right time to plant, harvest, and whatnot? We don't do that. Well, you do, Elder.
Popsy Poo does.
Right?
You know.
But most of our people have no clue. They don't even know how deep in the soil you have to plant a seed. They don't know what seeds, the time to plant certain seeds. They have no clue of anything. We are so far removed. All we know is frozen dinners. We know McDonald's. We know Burger King, KFC. We know all the restaurants. We know packaged foods. We know the brands of the foods, and we know all the different things. Huh?
Frozen vegetables.
We don't know. We
All of
cannot
that.
identify a tree to say, well, that's a coconut tree, unless there's a fruit of a coconut on it. You can't identify a tomato unless there's a tomato plant, unless there's a tomato on it. And even some folks don't even know, for example, where bananas come from. So we are so removed from that culture that it's difficult for us to make any connection to the scriptures. But we came from an agrarian society. Let's go to Matthew 16, and we're going to read verses 1 to 3. Matthew 16, verses 1 to 3. This is what Yeshua said. And just by reading the words of Yeshua, we can get a better understanding. And he kind of rebuked the Pharisees because they were experts at the law, the Torah. But they had a hard time to connect the dots of his message. And the same thing exists today. We have our brothers and sisters having a hard time making connection because they're addressing things from NASA standpoint. Well, there's a satellite with a big lens pointing towards the moon, and it's 1% right now. But are you up in a satellite looking at the earth? Did the Most High say? You might as well just erase the whole history of how our people follow things beforehand without the use of, poor slaves in the field can't read or write. How do we know when to plant for Massa? Even Massa himself was ignorant. A lot of the masters couldn't read or write. Believe you me. They were just privileged, right? So how do we, and when the slave masters took our people as slaves, they took educated people who knew how to plant, how to raise, take care of animals, how to do carpentry, how to do masonry. When you do the research, brothers and sisters, we were not a dumb people. Monkeys swinging from tree to tree, scratching our behinds. We were very intelligent people, okay? And they wanted, who's gonna pay money to go into countries and catch people who's gonna scratch their behind and bring them back and spend all that time and money, invest, and then you gotta spend time, first of all, trying to teach them how to read and write and teach them how to use mechanical tools, complicated tools. Now, in our day and time, these dumb scientists are still trying to get the monkeys to nail a hammer, to nail a nail with a hammer. They can't do it, right? But they want to call us monkeys, and it's just further from the truth. Anyway, so let's see what Matthew 16, verses 1 to 3 says. Can you read?
The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting, desiring him that he would show them a sign from heaven.
So it's a sign. What is a sign again?
Mm-hmm.
A sign. Something that can be what?
Seen.
Seen. A sign. Read.
Mm-hmm. He answered and said unto them,
Mm-hmm.
When it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red.
So evening is a sign because there's something you can physically see with the sun, giving you directions, knowing the shadows being cast, whether it's morning, whether it's noon, or whether it's afternoon or evening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the sun governs the day and allows us to see the hours that occur throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
But he says what? You know it's a red sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Continue on.
And in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
it will be foul weather today,
Uh-huh.
for the sky is red and lowering.
So you can see all these things, physically see those things, and discern these things that are above the earth, in the sky. In other words, he's saying, if you want to know what's happening for that day, you got to look up.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look above where you are, above the tree line, up into the sky to have discernment. Is that correct? How difficult is that? Do you need a college degree to understand this? Okay. Do you need to speak 10 different languages to understand this? It's very
No.
simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he says the sky is red and lowering. Read.
Mm-hmm. Said, "O ye hypocrites."
Notice how he calls them hypocrites, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they already had the means to discern, but they're making it difficult. It's right in front of their face, but it's so difficult. You know, one of the things that the ruling class was interested in was money. And even with keeping of the Shabbats in our day and time, it's all about the money. You take that out of the equation, and no one is going to have a problem with keeping the Shabbats the way we keep the Shabbats. It's always about the almighty dollar, the dollar bill. Okay? So let's see. It says, "Oh, you hypocrites," read.
"You can discern the face of the sky."
Notice it says the face. A face is something that can be what? Seen. Or even touched.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can't touch the moon. We can't touch the stars. Yes, we can touch a piece of paper.
But the way it's hanging.
But
in the
people can
heavens, you
redraw
see
things
that.
on papers. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Papers can be burnt. Papers can be altered. When Isaac lost his sight, his eyes was dim. What did he do? He felt. He
Mhm.
felt.
He felt his face.
He felt the face
skin.
of Jacob. His skin. He's trying to get the smell.
He smelled.
He was looking for signs,
Mhm.
so he can be able to discern if this is my son, because this blessing is so important. I need to know who I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
I don't want to make a mistake.
Mhm.
The voice was kind of like giving things away, right?
Mhm.
The paper can give things away too,
Mhm.
but it has to line up with the heavens.
Mhm.
It's a sign for you to physically see,
Yes.
right? So he had a handicap, but do we have a handicap? Speaking to the mic, grab the mic, pass the mic to Ima. No, there's another one. Yeah.
Well, I was saying no because the sky is above and the moon and the sun is there.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be no handicap with the moon and the stars and the sun.
And I can be wrong, and I can say, oh, I looked up and I saw the moon, and two other people says, nope, you're wrong. What you saw was maybe I don't know. Go ahead, sis. Okay, I'm not sure if someone was speaking. So we have people.
I got something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, notice in chapter 16, verse 16. Chapter 16, what is 16, 1 to 3? Yeah. So the first verse, it says, they asked him for a sign.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And notice that when they asked him for a sign, he started speaking about time. He didn't start speaking about anything but time. And if you notice, he said you can discern the face of the sky. So what do they call a clock? They call the clock a face. You know, you have to look at the face of the clock in order to know what time is it. So he went ahead and showed them where the actual clock is in the sky, because they can discern the face of the sky, but they can't see that the sky itself is actually a clock telling them what time it is. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much, Elder.
Yeah, another thing that
Can you speak into the mic, Elder?
Another thing that I looking at the moon, the clock in the sky. If it was close enough, or if men could have get to it, they will change it. But the Elohim know all about that. That is why he put it far away, that men cannot reach to touch it. They cannot do a thing to it. They can do other things on the earth, but when it comes on that, they can't touch it. They will spray the sky. That when you try to look to see what is up there, sometimes you can't see it. But Elohim is so powerful. When they spread the sky, sometimes he move it.
Cause wind.
Yeah, he do that. He have the wind pass over and move it, so his children can see it, and they will be able to continue.
That's right.
To follow what is right.
That's right. So we have the practice of verifying with multiple witnesses. All right. So he says, but can ye not discern the signs of the what?
The time.
The signs of the times. So the same way that we looked at the feasts, spring, summer, and also fall, it actually is teaching us about the times. That the fall is an ingathering of all the house of Israel and also the nations, and when he has to judge the fruits thereof, right? It has to be presented before him. So when you look at the Hebraic formula from the agrarian standpoint, agriculture, we're able to have a better understanding as far as the kingdom is concerned. And that's why he's saying, I mean, he says, I've given you all these different things, and by nature you can look and you can have that understanding about the operation, the function of the day, when to plant, sow, when to run and hide from the sun or the rain or whatever the case may be. So how come you can't figure out the times, prophecies, and different things like that? You understand? So we have an artificial calendar, artificial clocks that tries to emulate, and they make these adjustments accordingly. And that's the reason why the Gentiles who gave us this calendar system, they also have given us prophecy. And their calculation is based on the Gregorian calendar. And if you do that, as Brother Felix taught before, you're going to always be wrong. Always be wrong. Okay? So let's move on. And again, for our brothers and sisters, those of you who, if you want to at any time interject your thoughts, no problem. You can come on in. You can interrupt me for a minute and bring your points, okay? All right, brothers and sisters. So let's examine a few things in harmony with the agricultural life cycles. Now, we already covered this in Exodus 23, verses 14 to 17, so we're not going to read it again. But again, when you look at the farmers themselves have different seasons in the old times, the old country, in ancient times. We had the spring, we also had the summer, and we also dealt with the fall or autumn, right? Now, if all of our seasons was just spring and fall, we're going to have some problems when it comes to the summer. Because we're going to have to build up more foods supply and more storage for a longer period of time, so we can have throughout the whole summer season, 3 months, right? And then when we come to the fall, then we have another season of gathering. So the Most High didn't set it up like that. Now in the fall, we gather more, and we try to preserve more in the fall. Why? Because in the winter time, you're not going to find anything, right? You remember in the scriptures it says the Shabbat is going to be the next day. Gather twice as much, because there's going to be a rest. And that time you're not going to find anything at all. Right?
That's right.
Gather twice as much. So now when we come to the fall, what do we have to do? Gather twice as much. Because in the winter time, there's not going to be anything. Right? Things have to rest.
That's what the ants do.
So he's teaching us, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, right?
And be wise.
Be
because
wise.
She gathered her bread in the
summer.
In the summer.
right? So now we have the 3 periods of time. According to the Farmer's Almanac, there's people utilize these little books to have a better understanding with growing seasons, right? Farming by the moon. I don't know if you all are familiar with that process, but when you study farming, you'll see that the moon have a lot to do with agriculture. That's right. Do the research on that. You'll see when the grape. You want to share something on that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers will tell you that they cannot harvest the grapes if the water is in the crop, in the fruits, because what happened, in order to get the grapes to be so big and juicy and all that wonderful, sweetness, the moon has to pull the water into the fruits. And then you have to wait till the moon goes back down, when everything is like really, I forgot how the guy, there you go.
It's concentrated.
They concentrate it really good, and then you have all those wonderful, you'll get all the flavors and all that stuff out of the grape. Then you have to wait till the moon has to go back down, and then you can harvest it.
That's right.
Because while the moon is doing her thing, when it's almost like the tides, pulling the tide, to the and it will fill up the water in the evening. The tide comes in, and you have to in the morning when the tide goes back.
What about the woman's cycle? Because have you ever seen a blood red crescent moon? Has there ever been a blood red crescent moon or half moon blood red? But you have seen blood red full moons, right?
Yes.
Or pink moon or whatever it is.
Yes.
Normally that's when it's full. Same thing with a woman's cycle.
What happened with a woman's cycle? Just so she know when her month is beginning, she get an announcement, like a little red spot, and then that lets her know that something is her month is about to ready. So what she'll do, she gets herself prepared and so on, and then the next day then it would then it start coming on and so on, and all that is done by the moon.
All right, so let's go to the next slide. And let's get a little background. Then we're going to go into the counting afterwards, okay? All right, so the planting calendar rhythms. Can you read for me what's on the screen?
The planting calendar rhythms.
Give a little more emphasis. Your voice is
The planting calendar is about rhythms. Cosmic solar and lunar moon rhythms and earth rhythms. Human life, as well as animal and plant life, is strongly dependent on the rhythms of the earth. As the earth turns on its axis in the course of 24 hours, we have day and then night. As it travels in the course of 1 year around the sun, we have the seasons, hot and cool.
Hot and cool. Okay, now this is just information that I was able to get, and it goes to show how human life, as well as animal life and plant life, is strongly dependent upon the luminaries, the movements. Okay? So what I'm sharing with you is that agriculture, when the Bible says harvest, you're bringing these crops in. The crops is not operating outside of nature. It's it's synchronized in unison with the luminaries. They work together. Okay? That's all I want to bring from that. Let's move on just a little bit more. Continue. This rhythm.
This rhythm is easy to see. It begins at the new moon.
It begins when?
At the new moon.
Now, this is not my synopsis or my white papers or whatever. This is something that I pulled from a source. Read.
When the moon is close to the sun and almost invisible. As the moon moves away from the sun, we see it more clearly. First as a slender, very beautiful crescent in the sky. The new moon. Just over 7 days later, it reaches first quarter. When the moon's disk is half bright, half dark. The first quarter is followed by full moon, which is about 12 times as bright as the first quarter. Then comes last quarter, when the other half is illuminated.
Now notice carefully, it says full moon, which is what? How many times?
12 times as bright as the first quarter.
What bell goes off in your head when you see the number 12?
12 tribes.
12 tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Read.
After approximately 29.5 days, the rhythm begins
itself
again.
So it's a reset. There's a reset, and it starts all over again. So we have to follow the reset and things like that. Now let's move on. So let's go right into our next slide, and let's look at Shavuot as an overview. The three definitions Shavuot is defined. Now, when we look at where we are right now, this season, we're still in the spring season. Spring, okay? But Shavuot is defined as a summer wheat harvest. And we're going to look into that. We have to make the distinction that you have three cycles: spring, summer, and fall. You can't have everything just on one side. It's all the feast is on one side here, nothing in the middle, everything else is an end here, and then you have winter. Doesn't work like that. Shavuot is defined as a summer wheat harvest. Feast of Weeks, which also brings us to remembrance of the giving of the Torah. Okay? Now, I may not have time to go into that today, but I can show that perhaps next week. We'll see if we can go into that, so you'll see the timing of events. So you will count from one point and see when Moses actually gave Israel, when he came down with the tablets of stone, it fell on the same time with Shavuot. Okay? It was a final document. Not the first time when the Most High was speaking the words and Moses wrote it into the book, right? What?
That's why it's in two parts.
Two parts.
That's why it says fully come.
Fully come.
Okay.
Because it starts the count and then it counts down to the fullness of that.
Right. He spoke the word first. They wrote it down. And then 40 days later, he gave it to them.
That's correct. So, and it's also the engagement anniversary. It's when we came into a marriage covenant with the Most High on stone. That's why a ketubah is written out. Remember, Moses had not only received the words of the Most High, everyone was listening to the words of the Most High, but they went away because they were afraid of listening. It says, if we stay any longer, we're going to die. And then Moses wrote the words in a book, and he left them, and he went up on a mountain for a certain period of time. You add all that together. When he came down from the mountaintop, the Bible says he saw them in sin. He broke the tablets. But during that time, that particular time was the Shavuot. So we'll do all the numbers on that so you can see. So let's move on. Let's move on. Summer wheat harvest. Let's take a look at the summer wheat harvest. So let's look at wheat harvest. When is the right or the correct wheat harvest? Some follow and teach the Jewish time of Shavuot occurring between May and June. But this is not correct. And why? Because it is technically part of spring. I mentioned that before. So when you look at this this picture here, brothers and sisters, let me see if we can pull up a tool here. Let's move this down. Okay. So when you look at this picture here, brothers and sisters, what you find here is you have spring, which is in the sun right here, occurring. Okay, let me change this to a red. Okay, let's see. Okay, nope, that's not what I want. Okay, give me 1 second. Get the right tool. Where's, oops, I don't want that either. Okay. right, let's get back. Sorry, y'all. Let's get the right tool. Let's go back here. Okay. Jack of all trades. All right, Jack. Let's get the trades together. Red. There we go. All right. All right. So this is where spring is right here. And then they say it's around May or June. Now, if you notice carefully, this is March right here, April, and right over here, it's March, April, May, and June. So here you have a period. So they're saying that Pentecost occurs during May/June, but that's 3 months, right? 3 months. So we can see that this period is still within the springtime. We all see that? In the springtime. That can't, so when the Most High say 3 times in a year, you have to appear before me, bring your harvest. If Shavuot falls in the spring, that's only twice a year. That's a problem. Okay? Yes.
Also, they're not, the month that they're putting out there, that has nothing to do with the Most High's month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's based on, we counting by the moon, not by how they categorize it right there.
That's right.
Do you see? So again, when you're using technology and you force ripen things, you force it to grow at a particular time so you can harvest it.
Well, that's good because
so it can fit in with your plans.
That's right. So now let's look at what she just brought up. Now, if you keep you can switch the screen. So let's look at. I'm going to show you something here real quick. All right. So let me make this just a little bit bigger. So you can make it a little bit bigger, so our brothers and sisters can see. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. All right. So on the screen, brothers and sisters, is a snapshot from a book showing, as you can see, it says Table 3. Get my pen here. It says Table 3 right here. Oops, that's not what I want. Table 3. Right here. It says harvesting, and what else?
An ingathering based on modern agricultural practice in Israel.
So that's a problem. Don't you think that's a problem?
Absolutely.
So let's look at the ingathering, harvesting. So they have the wheat when? In May, right over here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you that again. According to the modern practices in Israel, you have the wheat harvest in May. You have the barley in April, and then you have the wheat in May. It's a huge problem.
Very huge problem.
Okay, and then throughout the rest of the summer, there's nothing else. From June, July, August, and whatnot, there's nothing else. You have chickpeas, you have sesame, you got flax. Now, let me ask a question. The book of Exodus, can you go real quick?
I've got it already.
Okay, so let's go there real quick.
Because I know he's going to go there.
So let's go to the book of...
I know, Uncle Cliffy. I got it. I read him mine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the book of... What chapter?
That's chapter 9, verse 31 and 32.
Let's look at this together, family, and let's see what the Bible is saying, okay? If I'm going too fast, let me know so I can slow down, Mishpachah. I got my eye on the chat, so if you want to put something in there, I'll try to keep up. Okay, so let's start. Where do you want to start? Verses 1?
We're doing Exodus chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Verse 31 and 32.
All right.
Okay, and this is just speaking of what happened when the hail came on Egypt.
Okay, so let's go to the plagues.
Okay.
Where do you want to start? What verse?
Okay, if you want to go back to the plagues, you're going to have to go up a little.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we can read from 27.
Okay, so let's go to 27.
It says, And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron, and said unto them, I have sinned this time. Yah is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Very true. Entreat Yah, for it is enough, that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail.
So that's important. Okay, read.
And I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. And Moses said unto him, As soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto Yah, and the thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know how that the earth is Yahweh's. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that you will not yet fear Yahweh Elohim.
And this is a prophecy also of the future, how the kings will still be stubborn and would not come up every year to keep the feasts. Okay?
Revelation talk about that.
So now let's go to verses 31. Please keep close attention. Read.
And the flax and the barley was smitten.
The flax and the barley was smitten. So the flax was grown, right? Now, let's pause for a moment. Notice it says the flax and the barley was smitten. That's read the rest of it.
For the barley was in the air.
So in other words, the barley, the thing that to be harvested, the seed, the wheat, the grain, the barley grain was in the air. In other words, it was in a place of harvest.
Yes.
Fully ready to be harvested.
It was ready
right?
to be harvested.
And
the flax was bold.
What does bold mean?
Means that it was already like in the like when you're getting ready to harvest it.
Yeah.
It has in the husk. It was like
it's getting ready. It's getting ready. Now let's look at something real quick, okay? Again, I'm going to compare what we just read. So in other words, in Egypt, which is just a stone throw away from Israel, in Egypt, flax and the barley was grown up. It was already at the point at harvest time, right? But the wheat was not there as yet. So let's look, and we're going to read that in a moment, but let's look at the same thing that I showed you all before. Look at the chart again. Notice that according to Israel, modern Israel, the wheat and the barley came first, right over here, in April, and then the wheat is in May, right after the barley. But look where the flax is, way over in July. So it's good where it is. Yeah. Notice that the flax is all the way in July. So shouldn't the flax grow in a timeline, or in the same time also with the barley? Shouldn't the flax be over in the column where it says April? So something is wrong. We can see that modern way of doing things, if you follow the modern calendars, if you follow the modern agricultural cycles, you're going to be off. You need to have a point of reference, which is the past. Okay? So, looking at this chart here, the column, July, is where the flax is. According to the Torah, let me get back, where is it? According to the Torah, it says the flax and the barley, no, it's fine, was smitten. Flax and the barley have to be grown to be smitten, right? It says that the barley was in the air, the flax was bold. So, whatever has to be harvested was there at that particular time. Now let's read verses 32. Yes, sir.
Very quick. You mentioned earlier that the earth is like a woman. There's a period that she's supposed to be resting and all of that too, right?
That's correct.
If you notice, with the Most High, there's a reason why certain crops are planted at a certain time. Because I remember when I was young, my father would do it. You have to plant certain crops because certain crops put certain things back into the soil to get ready for whatever is going to be planted next. And when the Most High set it up, he plants certain things to get ready for whatever's going to be planted next. And that's basically because certain crops take nutrients out of the soil and certain crops have to put it back. And that's the part that many people don't see. So what is happening today is the whole earth is out of order because man has went and tampered with the natural way things supposed to be flowing.
That is correct. And as a matter of fact, just to add to what you're saying, we can see the reason why we have feast today and famine tomorrow is because they have everything growing at the same time. We don't allow the earth to deal with one thing or two things at a time. We want to have all her children, all her foods, fruits, whatever has to be, you know, the wheat, barley, everything is forced to grow within one particular season. Yes.
Remember, the Torah says that you can't plant multiple seed in the same area, in the same thing. It's
That's
just
right.
like a woman having too many seeds in her.
Different seeds.
Of different seeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it causes a confusion. So they're forcing the earth to do the same thing. You know?
That's right. Yes.
We're looking up the word bowl, and it said getting ready, like it's getting ready to drop seed. You know, like some
Is got
like a pot.
ripe, and now it's drying.
Getting ready to
Right.
burst open to drop seed.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like in a little pod, you know, like the flax is like in a little pod. It's a very soft grain. You know, so when you shake the stuff, it falls out easily.
So the barley was about to kick the bucket. Let's put it that way, because it already reaches the point of harvesting. It reached the point of now dropping back to the earth to replenish again. So we find that modern Israel has the flax growing during a different season than the Bible is saying. Bible is saying this is in the spring. They're showing that it's in the summer. So you wanted to say something? Same thing? Okay, good. So let's move ahead. Can you read verses 32 now?
And verse 32 says, But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up.
See? So how can the hail and whatnot destroy something that is not even grown? Right? So the hail could only destroy something that exists.
That's right.
So the wheat was not around. Now, Shavuot is dealing with the harvest of the wheat. It has nothing to do with the barley. It's the wheat. So you have unleavened bread in the springtime, which is barley. Is that correct?
That's right.
So what did Israel use to make unleavened bread? Some stale grain from last year?
No, you had to use the first of the first fruits for you to use to make the unleavened bread.
I brought that up because I know there will be some who said, well, they used the old Egyptian grain of wheat. No, they used the barley. Okay, the barley was used to produce or to make the unleavened bread for that Passover.
Yes.
Okay, and
Because
so now
they were beginning the harvest when everything came and destroyed
right.
it.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so because remember the first Passover was setting things up for the one to follow the next year, and whatever it is, you know, and so forth. Yes.
Yeah. Also, when you notice what it says that the wheat was not grown up. Now, how you get the wheat to be ripened that's not even grown up, to be ripened just for the next month?
That's right.
Do you see what I'm saying to you? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because wheat is a tougher grain.
Yeah.
And it takes a longer time to mature.
And we're going to look at something that Yeshua said to help us to understand the right season of Shavuot, okay? All right, so that wasn't growing up.
And there are also different types of wheat.
That's right. So we'll cover that too. Let's move ahead. So false. The whole idea, brothers and sisters, of having Pentecost and in the same season with in the spring season is incorrect. So again, let's look at this. This is a chart put up by the Jewish peoples, right? And again, you see right over here is March. Nisan is here. And then right here, you can see in the sun right here. Okay. You have spring feast. You have Passover. And then you have the feast of unleavened bread. And you also have Pentecost right over here. And all of this is within the spring cycle or season. So we have a major problem again. And then you have, so you got 2 seasons. You got the fall season. And then you have the spring season right over here. 2. So isn't that twice in a year shall all males present themselves? Now they will say, well, you got to count to get to Pentecost. Yeah, but that's that's in the spring. It's still in the spring.
And they're not actually counting.
They're not really counting. They're just saying 7 Saturdays and then Sunday after that.
Just like every Mother's Day is on Sunday and all their Father's Days
All
on
right,
Sunday.
so we made up a point on that. Let's move on. So which wheat harvest is correct? Let's go to our next slide. There are 2 wheat harvests, one in the spring, about 2 weeks after barley harvest, and one in the summer, about 50 days after the one in the spring. Let's look at this example of the 2. Okay? So let's go to our next slide. Can you read for me?
Mm-hmm. Wheat planting and harvest seasons.
Mm-hmm.
China.
In China.
18% of world production.
This is in China. Let's see what happens in China. They have what?
Winter wheat.
They have a wheat called winter wheat. Read.
Mm-hmm. Planting. It's planted from mid-September through October.
Now that's the east. And they plant this in mid-September through October. And when that's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Harvest. Harvested from mid-May through June.
That's in the spring. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, let's look at another example. What is this?
Spring wheat. Planting. Planted from mid-March through April. Harvested from mid-July to mid-August.
It's harvested when?
From mid-July to August.
So which
to mid-August.
So which one do you think that is the correct one?
The one that is harvested in mid-July to August.
That's correct. All right?
Yes.
Okay, so you got 2 different ones.
Yes.
Let's continue on. Let's see
but
if
remember, this is a China thing. This is not.
That's China, but we're gonna try to compare notes. We're gonna line it up with Yeshua in his day, and also with nature and things like that. Okay, let's continue on. I hope this is helping our brothers and sisters. Which wheat harvest is correct again? An important piece to consider again is Exodus 9 verses 31-32. It says, "But the wheat." Exodus 9, 31, 32. What does it say?
But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up.
The wheat nor the rye were not smitten because they were not what?
They were not grown up.
Let me go back here for a second. Okay, so I don't see rye on this list. All right, let me move forward. Okay. So the wheat and the rye were not smitten because they were not grown up. It has to be grown. And once it's grown, it produces the fruit that has to be harvested. Is that correct? All right. So what time of the year did this occur? That's the question. It had to occur in the right time. Let's see what the Bible says. The Bible actually says, if we read the Bible correctly and understand the proper way to count, Pentecost will occur in the summer, not the spring. Remember, the Most High said 3 times to appear. He didn't say twice. 3 times. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So we have to physically count something we got to look out for, and then we have to count. We're not lazy just sitting back. Okay, send me the calendar for the year. Like I'm some prophet to know what's going to happen. And then we got, that's the old way of thinking. That's the way, let me put it this way. That's the modern way of thinking, not the old way. The modern way is we calculate everything on paper. We do a trigonometry. We do algebra. And we do all these different figures and stuff. And we carry the point over and whatever it is. And, even in numbers, there's something called rounding off. Ever think about that? Not squaring off. rounding off. But we fail to understand that the moon doesn't square off. Right? So why is it that you expect a lot saying, well, what about this? It's 29.5. What about this other time, this other 0.5 that is missing?
It's also counted. It's actually 30.
It's actually 30, right?
Yes.
But
It's counted.
when it comes to math, you forget that you round off in math, right? Because you can't get it to things. So he says, okay, let's just round it off. Leave that alone. So we have to actually physically count. Is that correct?
That's right.
Let's take a look at Leviticus 23 verses 15 to 16, and let's read this. Leviticus 23, 15 to 16. Read.
And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat.
Notice it says, you shall count unto you from the day or the morrow after the Sabbath. So the 15th, which was the Feast of Unleavened Bread, was a Shabbat, a high holy Shabbat, the double Shabbat. It was also a weekly Shabbat, but it was also a seasonal Shabbat. 2 Shabbats in one. Okay? So you start to count from the day after. Read.
From the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering.
So the 16th, the next day after that Feast of Unleavened Bread, that's when you start your count. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it says, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, what does it say?
7 Shabbats shall be complete.
Now, notice it says the Shabbats has to be what?
Complete.
That's the first count. It's 2 countings that you have to do. You got to count the 7 Shabbats have to be complete first. And then after that, read.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat.
So after you count your 7 Shabbats, read.
Shall you number 50 days.
So now you got to count 50 days on top of the 7 Sabbaths that's just passed. Is that correct? Isn't that what the book is saying?
That's right.
7 Sabbaths have to be complete. And then it says even the day after the 7th Sabbath, then you start to count. 50 days.
That's right. Now, you notice they're confusing the numbering of the days by counting the 7 Saturdays, and the next day they say 7 sevens are 49, so the next day is Sunday, so that makes it 50. But the reason why he's telling you the 7 Shabbats have to be complete, because you're following the Shabbats based on the moon. Some days you have a 29th day Shabbat, 29th and a half month, and some day you have a 30. So that is the reason why you count Shabbats and not days.
So you can be on point.
That's right.
Because you don't need to count anything if you have something that's just the way it is, structured the way it is. But even so, even if you were keeping Saturday as a Sabbath, how come they always end up with just 7 Sabbath? And not, if they even kept Saturday as a Sabbath, for example, right? And they did it exactly as is written. You go through 7 Saturdays and then you add the 50 days to it. Count. They will end up in the summer. Right? But they're not doing that. They're still doing it wrong. And therefore, they end up having everything in the spring.
They will end up early.
Early, very early.
Summer, and not really the right time. Still, they would be off, but still.
But don't take my word for it. Let's verify that with the words of Yeshua likewise. So we got to do everything according. It's a lot of things is written there for a reason, but sometimes we don't pay close attention to what has been said. We hear something, but in our minds we already form another opinion. Right?
You want to finish read?
Yeah, read 16 again.
It says, even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh.
A new one. So it's not the old barley.
Right.
Not the barley. It has to be wheat.
That's right.
A mincha, a grain offering. Okay? So now let's take a look at this chart so it can make it very easy for us to see. Let me so let's take a look here. So the 15th was the unleavened bread right over here. Hope y'all can see that. The 15th was the unleavened bread right over here. Let's do that again. Let's draw the circle again. Right over here was the 15th. Okay? The morrow after that Sabbath, you start to count. So right here you have your count. 1. You have 7 Sabbaths, okay? The morrow after, so you got right here. You start to count. Oh, let me do that again. This is the first Sabbath right here. The first Sabbath, which is on the 22nd. Is that correct?
That is right. Today is counting Shabbat number 1.
So today will be Shabbat number 1.
Yes.
Okay? That's the 22nd. Let me just draw a line instead of the circle, just so we won't be confused. So here we go.
Very easy, brothers and sisters.
This is the first Shabbat. Today is the first Shabbat where we start to count. This is the first Shabbat. Then we go through, we look for the second Shabbat, which will occur on the 29th, okay?
That's right.
Not the 29th on the Gregorian calendar. After that, we look for the third Shabbat, okay? Then we have the fourth Shabbat, which is another 15th. And then we have the fifth Shabbat, have to pass. And then we have the sixth Shabbat. And finally, we have the seventh Shabbat right over here. Let me circle that right here. All right, seventh Shabbat right here. So after the seventh Shabbat is complete, then you start your numerical count. So you count groups of weeks first. That's why it's called the Feast of Weeks. Groups first.
Right. And that's where you have, when it says fully come, you have the first part of counting the weeks and the second part of counting days. So that's where you have fully come.
Right, the first phase. So now, the morrow after the seventh Shabbat was right here. You start to count. Day number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you count all the way down until you have what? 50 days. This day is Pentecost. And guess what? It brings you right into the summer. Summertime.
That's right.
And in the summertime is the wheat harvest. The wheat harvest. So we are in sync with nature.
Absolutely.
In sync with nature. Boom, boom, boom.
But it's very important for you to start the Passover correctly. Because if you don't, you're not going to be in sync.
Elaborate. Give me an example. So if they started when? Like some folks
if
started
you start, some people started the Passover early.
Some started like what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks before.
Uh-huh.
And so on. So if you start 2 weeks before, you're not going to find your count falling at the right time. You see? It must always start with the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
That's right. Absolutely. So now let's move on. Again, it says Leviticus 23. Read it again. Verse 15.
And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat.
So we have the unleavened bread, which was a Shabbat itself. Okay. And the morrow after is the 16th. Go ahead.
From the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering.
That's on the 16th. Go ahead.
7 Shabbats shall be complete.
So now you have 7 Shabbats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Read.
And even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat.
The morrow after the 7th Shabbat.
Shall you number 50 days.
So now we count 50 days from there.
And you shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh.
So now you have a what? A new meat offering. New. Something brand new. So you have the first meat offering, which was barley. And then you have the new meat offering, which is wheat. Okay, did we all get that? All right, let's move on. I hope it's not too difficult. Counting of the Omer. Can you read for me?
Counting of the Omer. It's kind of far away, but anyway.
Oops.
Sefarat Omer. is an important verbal counting between Passover and Shavuot as stated in the Hebrew Bible. Leviticus 23:15-16. This mitzvah, commandment,
or instructions,
derives from the Torah commandment to count beginning from the day on which the omer, a sacrifice containing an omer measure of barley, was offered.
So it was a measure of barley that was offered. Read.
Up until the day before an offering of wheat was brought on Shavuot.
See that? Read.
The counting of the omer begins on the second day of Passover, the 16th of Nisan, and ends the day before the holiday or the holy day of Shavuot, the 15th day.
The 50th day.
The 50th day, sorry.
Read.
The idea of counting each day represents spiritual preparation and anticipation for the giving of the Torah, which was given by Yah on Mount Sinai at the beginning of the month of Sivan, around the same time as the holiday of Shavuot, a holy day of Shavuot.
All right, let's continue on. So, just giving you a little background. So Yeshua also gives us a clue. Let's go and see what Yeshua says in the book of John 4:34-35. Okay, John 4:34 to verses 35. Okay. I'll try to pick up a little speed here. Let me see how much more we got. Because, yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. So we're going to go through towards the end, all the way through. And then when we come back next week, most high willing, we're going to give you the breakdown as far as how this is our anniversary of receiving the giving of the Torah, when the Most High gave the Torah to Israel, or the ketubah, the marriage document, to Israel, okay? So you're going to see it next week, most high willing, from the Hebrew wedding structure, okay? So we're given this part of it. We're going to give it from the Hebrew wedding so you can see how everything is still in sync. Yes.
And you're going to always see also that it was in the third month that the Most High spoke to them. And then after the 40 days that he went on the mount, then he received it fully. So you'll see the different, how it falls in place.
That is correct. That is correct. So let's read. Yeshua gives a clue. John, the book of John, chapter 4, verses 34 and 35.
Yeshua saith unto them, My meat is to do the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work.
What did he say? Verse 35.
Say not he, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest?
Now that's a huge clue. 4 months, and then cometh the harvest. Right? So let's do that count. We want to do the count real quick?
Yeah.
So where do we start?
You have
the barley.
Abib.
Comes in Abib, right? So you have count.
Right. You have Abib, and then afterwards you have Sivan, and then you have, I forgot the other one, and then you have the 4th one. So really, it's 4.
So in other words, when you go through the 3 months, which begins with the spring. After the 3 months has passed, the 4th months bring you into what?
The summer. Yes.
Bring you right into summer.
Yeah.
The 4th month is actually summertime.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so when you look, let me go back so everyone can see. You can stay there.
Because you have the 3 months per seasons.
So let me go back so everyone can see.
3 4s are 12.
Where is it? Right here. So when you go from Nisan, right? Yeah. That's 1 month. Yeah. Which is another month. Let me take these out so I won't confuse anyone. Let's take all of these out. Oops.
Not the correct name.
Sorry. Let's go through it step by step so our brothers and sisters won't be confused. Come on. Okay, here we go. Take that out. All right, so we have Nisan right here. 1. You have 2, Iyar, right? You have 3, Shavan. they have Pentecost on the Shavuot, right?
Yes.
But then you have 4 months. So now you come into this name that I don't really care for too much. Well, let's leave that. You come into the 4th month, right?
That's not the correct name for them.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
But you come into the 4th month right here, brothers and sisters. It says, then cometh the harvest. Right? Let me see if we can back up just a little bit. I want to show something else. Let me see. The Chinese people.
Yes, that's actually from Israel. Sister Youngs who gave it to me, or Brother Youngs. She went to
Let me see.
little mustard seed.
Let me just go back just a little bit.
Desert flower, the Sea of Galilee. Yeah, so I kept it in my Bible.
Okay, I went too far. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, here we go. So again, according to this modern chart here, the spring wheat is planted in mid-March through April, but it's harvested during the mid-July, mid-August. So that's the summertime. According to the Torah, the way that the months operate, Nisan, Iyar, Shavan, and then you have the 4th month, right? Which is between June and also July. Okay? All right. So we can see how the Most High has set things in order. Now let's go back to what Yeshua says, and let's cover his speech. He says, read verse 35 again, Kifa.
He says, say not he, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest?
So 4 months, and then cometh the harvest. Read.
Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest.
So imagine, he says that they're white, ready to do what?
Harvest.
Harvest. They're white, ready to be harvested. So that's the wheat. The month. So start from here, Kifa. Look right here. Start with the chart, the blue chart. The blue chart. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Now go forward. 1, 2. Right there. Okay. So Kifa was just trying to get caught up here. All right. So Yeshua again says what?
He said, saying not he.
Uh-huh.
There are yet 4 months.
4.
And then cometh the harvest?
And then comes a harvest. So in his day, you go through the spring, and then after that, you have a harvest, which is the wheat harvest.
Right. And that's interesting what he said. 4 months and then come the harvest?
Then comes the harvest.
But because the Shavuot actually falls the end of the first summer month.
That's
end
right.
of the 4th month.
That's right. Right? They are white, already to harvest. And that's all we want to bring from that. Okay? Let's move on to our next slide. Feast of Weeks, commemorating the giving of the law. We'll cover that next week. But let's go to the book. Let's go to... yes, sir.
I'd like to share something that I saw, and I asked the question, and that this is just what the Most High showed me. If you go to Exodus 19:1, in the first verse it says, in the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness. So we know that the children of Israel was still in Egypt in the 1st month. And when you read that chapter, you're going to see where the information was exchanged between Moses and the Most High and the people. And they said all that the Most High said we were doing stuff. If you was to use that analogy today.
Okay, move around. Move around. I think you moved.
Yeah, I just moved. Yeah, I just moved.
Getting a little.
I heard the feedback here.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. If you was to use that analogy today, for example, say we're in the month of April now, and I tell you 3 months from now I'm going to be in Tatola, well, or if I was giving it to you in the past, sorry, and I said I was in Atlanta in April, and then 3 months later, I was in the VI. You wouldn't start counting the month of April because I'm still in Atlanta. You would start counting May, June, and July. So when you look at it, it says when they were gone forth. Well, they were still in Egypt in the first month. So when would you start really counting? You actually have to count the next month after that. So I was just looking at that analogy from how we speak today. We still do the same thing when we speak to one another as far as the way we calculate things. So I was just looking at that, and that's just an understanding that he gave to me. That's just by going back and reading and realizing, okay, well, they were still in Egypt, and you had to take a point in time to even reach to where the Red Sea was. So I just wanted to share that understanding I got.
Okay, and what we'll do, brother, and I appreciate your understanding. Next week, we are actually going to go step by step through the Torah, Book of Jubilees, and so forth, and we'll bring all the pieces together so you can follow the trail from each month and so forth. Okay, in that way you'll get the full, proper understanding. Yeah. So you'll see how everything lines up perfectly and how we end up in the summer as far as getting the Torah during that time. It lines up perfectly with the scripture, what we're saying. So we'll present that next week. We don't want to put too much on the table today. So we're just giving an overview. We wanted to show from the Torah itself, as far as the agricultural, agrarian culture, and then next week we're going to show the count from when we came out from Egypt until the receiving of the Torah. Okay? Yeah. But let's take a little. Yeah, no problem, brother. You want to say something?
No, that's
okay. So since the brother Shamar brought up Exodus 19, let's go there real quick, and let's see. So we're not going to go into all the details of this, but read verses 1. Read verses 1. Let me pull it up here. Exodus 19, verses 1. Is everything okay, Kifa? Oh, okay. All right. So let's go to Exodus 19. You're good there. Oops. And let's just pick out a couple things here. All right. Exodus 19, verses 1, read.
It's Exodus 19 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
It says, in the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
Uh-huh.
For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness.
Okay. Read.
And there Israel camped before the mount.
All right. Read verses 3, and then we'll skip on down through 19, okay?
Mm-hmm. And Moses went up unto Yahweh, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel.
All right. Skip on down to verses 10.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready again the 3rd day. For the 3rd day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. Okay,
so now he's making preparation. He's giving them some time to get themselves ready, because he's going to give us these instructions, all right? Our people, the instructions, so they had to wash themselves and get themselves ready and so forth. Now, what we're going to be covering here is just that it was not just 10 commandments. Again, Pentecost is important because it is a remembrance of when we receive our marriage covenant. That's when we receive our marriage covenant. All the rules that the husband wants for his house, how his house to be operated, and whatnot. And also, remember, Moses came down with 2 tables of stone. If we think along the lines of modern Hebrew or even English, there's no way you can have all the instructions on 2 tables of stone. But if you go into the Paleo Hebrew, one little picture has, you put a few pictures together, you can have a lot to say. All right? Okay. As it says, a picture is 1,000 words. So now let's let's go to let's see what verse I want to go to. All right, verses 25. We're almost done. Verses 25. Read.
Verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, verse 25 of Exodus 20?
Exodus 19 and 25.
19 and 25.
Yeah, I'm just going to transition from 19 into 20, and I want to show a couple points here.
So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now what we're doing is we're transitioning. We're showing the Most High letting Israel know to get themselves ready. I'm going to come and talk to you, and I'm going to give you this covenant. All right? And everyone is gathered together. I've already defeated Egypt. Now you can pay close attention. I'm establishing you as a nation of people. All right? So, most of the time, our people think, well, it was just 10 commandments. And that's the problem, because they only start with Exodus 20, and that's it. So let's transition from 19 verses 25. We're going to Exodus 20 and verses 1. So now he has come down from the mountain, and now he's going to speak to the whole house of Israel, including those other nations that joined Israel, who were serving Israel as servants, right?
Yeah, the strangers.
Strangers. Verses 1.
And Yah spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Now this is the word, the ketubah being spoken. It's like you are coming into a marriage contract with a woman. So you explain all that you want to happen. Then the lawyer have to draw up the final paperwork that needs to be signed. Is that correct? So you go through this process of speech, explaining everything, and then you put this into a hard copy. Israel received a hard copy after Moses went up and spent 40 days and 40 nights and so forth. We'll cover that next week, most High willing. But I'm just giving you an overview of what transpired. So the words were spoken first. Now, you've probably heard amongst the Jewish world about oral Torah. What that means is that there were many things that were spoken to Moses by the Most High that was not, everything was not directly written. Okay? It was passed on. A lot of things that were said by the Messiah, but was not written. It was passed on. So you have to understand in context what it means by oral Torah. However, what happens, the downside of that is a lot of the rabbis, these so-called modern rabbis today, can use that as a opening, a loophole, to put whatever they want in there. It says that was included in the oral Torah. That's the problem. Do you understand that? So let's continue. We can have that discussion some other time. All right. So a lot of things that were said to Moses was not directly, everything was not really written down. Certain secrets and whatnot. Okay. The Book of Jubilees also gives us a little insight as far as Moses was showing the beginning and also the end of the world. But he didn't write down all the details that would occur. Perhaps, because there's a lot of missing books too. Yeah. All right, so let's continue. So now he spoke all these words, saying, verses 2.
I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So now he goes to verses 3 about the different gods, the graven images. We already know all these different things. So he spake all these words, saying all of these things. Let's skip on down to where people stop. And let's go to verses 17. Read 17.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
So this is part of the 10 Commandments, but do we see that the Most High stopped from speaking?
No.
Now, verses 18. Let's see what it says. Verses 18.
It says, and all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountains smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
Now the loud noise was the Most High. He was still speaking to the people. That was the sound effects. Smoke, lightning, all kinds of stuff happened. They got terrified and they backed off. But did the Most High stop speaking? No, he didn't. See, churchianity, you only take 10 and run with that. But Israel don't just have 10. That's 10 general pieces. But he continues speaking to Israel. Verses 19.
And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not Yah speak with us, lest we die.
So the Most High is speaking, and the people interrupt his speech by talking to Moses. Continue.
And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for Yah is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not.
Read on.
And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where Yah was. And Yah said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel.
So now, because Israel has pulled away, he's speaking only to Moses and says, well, you tell Israel, this is what I'm saying to them. If they were standing close, they will hear. Since they backed off, I'm speaking directly to you now. Bring this later on to the people. Read.
You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven.
So now you have seen all the special effects. Read.
You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold.
Isn't that part of the first commandment?
That's right.
Okay, read 24.
An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto you, and I will bless you.
All right, skip on down to verses 26.
Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon.
So is Moses speaking to himself, or is the Most High speaking to Moses?
The Most High is speaking.
He's still speaking. Yes. He hasn't gone anywhere. So people stop at verses 17 and says, they close the book and says, now let's build a church. Let's call ourselves Adventist Church of God 7-day or whatever the case may be. It's just 10 commandments. We see the confusion? But let's go to chapter 21. Let's go to chapter 21. Let's see what the book says. 21 verses 1. You can stay there. That's good, Kifa.
Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them.
Is Moses speaking to himself, or is the Most High speaking to Moses?
Most High is still speaking.
All right, read.
If thou buy an Hebrew servant.
So you just came out from slavery, and the Most High is telling you that there will be some servant again. Isn't that part of the Most High says, and God spake all these words, not some of these words, all these words, saying, and he starts from this one, and he's still speaking. Now he's in chapter 21. If you buy a servant, let's leave that, and let's go to chapter 22. Yes, sir.
Remember, we're talking about the children of Israel and the Gentiles. So the commandments and the judgment and the statutes was given to Israel, but the Gentiles have something opposite to suit what they are doing.
They picked and they choose, cherry picking. So let's go to chapter 22 now, verses 1. We're not going to read the whole thing. I just want to show the beginning and also the end. 22 verses 1.
If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep.
Is Moses speaking to himself, or is the Most High still speaking to him?
Most High is still speaking to Moshe.
Because Israel is no longer standing close by to listen to the words of the Most High. Let's go to the last verse of chapter 22. That's verses 31.
And you shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall you eat any flesh that is torn of beast in the field. You shall cast it to the dogs.
Now this is still part of the Torah. Still part of the 10 Commandments. He's given us even the unclean stuff, clean and unclean, at this particular point. That includes the feast of the seasons. That's 22. Let's go to 23 now. Let's go to chapter 23, and we'll pick it up at verses 1. I'm just showing you something, brothers and sisters, that is so important. You miss all of this, you're going to be confounded, confused, lost.
Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness.
That's verses 1. Did the Most High stop speaking? Is Moses is he hallucinating? Is he on drugs? No. Okay. Let's go to verses 30. Let's go to verses 33. I just want to show the beginning and the end. Most High has not stopped from speaking.
They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you.
Again, did the Most High stop speaking? No, he did not. Now let's go over to chapter 24. Chapter 24. Verses 1.
And he said unto Moses, Come up unto Yah, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off.
Read.
And Moses alone shall come near Yah, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yah, and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which Yah have said, we will do.
I do. Remember in 19, it was the same thing said to them, right?
Yes.
And over in 24, they're saying the same thing. So now the Most High has stopped speaking the instructions to Moses right here in 24. Now he's given him a directive who to speak to amongst the people to bring the word to all the congregation of Israel. And they said, this is the leadership, the elders of Israel. All that the Most High say we will do. Because we're the senators, we're the congressmen over the house of Israel. Okay? Verses 4.
And Moses wrote all the words of Yah.
He did what?
And Moses wrote all the words of Yah.
So when we look at the 10 Commandments movie with Charlton Heston, that's not this right here. That's actually later on. Okay? Read.
Okay. And Moses wrote all the words of Yah, and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill.
How many?
He built an altar under the hill.
One altar under the hill. Read.
And 12 pillars.
12 pillars.
According to the 12 tribes of Israel.
Imagine that. Let me tell you this. That's very important in understanding our culture. You don't need a temple, but you must have an altar. An altar is very important. Once you get the altar set, you have the green light. The altar is the main, it's the heart. Okay? That's why Jacob had an altar. Abraham had an altar. They all had an altar. The altar is very important. Perhaps one of these great days, I'll be able to do a teaching on the altar, the temple, and all those different things. Okay? It takes time to break it down. And I don't have time to be battling trolls and doorkeepers and all kinds of stuff. I don't have time for all that. I want to move ahead because there are people who really want to learn the Torah, and I want to go and cover those things for our brothers and sisters. Okay? I don't want to be putting out fires. That's a waste of time for me. They can do that in another some go to a classroom where people like to squabble back and forth over nonsense. Should you be baptized with sprinkling of the head? How should baptism be done? You can go over there to another place. I want to teach Torah in righteousness. So there's 12 pillars, and it pertains to the 12 churches.
12 tribes.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Grab the...
speaking about the altars, that's why he told them that when they get into the land, break down their altars.
That's right.
Because when you put an altar, there's ownership. You represent in the ownership of God.
That's right. You're establishing the foundation.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where he stopped, right over here. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 31, because when you read from here on, you can see how Moses sprinkled. As a matter of fact, hold that thought for a minute. Let's stay in 24. Read for me verses 6 and verses 8.
And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins.
So half he put in the basin.
And half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar.
And he sprinkled half on the altar.
And he took the book of the covenant.
It's a book, not stones as yet. A book of the covenant. What did he do?
And read in the audience of the people.
So now he's reading this in the audience of the people, because the first time they were hearing it, but they got terrified. They stepped off. He continued to listen to the Most High. The Most High is speaking to him, and he's writing these things down, right? And now he read it to the audience of the people, and they said,
all that Yah have said will we do and be obedient.
Again, it's establishing an engagement. This is not the marriage. This is an engagement. When the Messiah returns, that's when we're going to have the marriage. This is just the engagement process of this, okay? There's two parts to a marriage in Hebrew culture. An engagement and the consummation, the marriage itself. Right? When the bride and the groom actually have the honeymoon part. Verses 8, read that.
Honeymoon.
Honey what? Honey sun?
Moon.
Honey
not
sun?
Honey sun. Honeymoon.
Honey sun. Honeymoon. See, we use all these phrases and we don't realize the etymology of words. Read, verses 8.
And Moses took the blood.
He took the blood.
And sprinkled it on the people.
He sprinkled it on who?
Sprinkled it on the people.
So the altar is connected to the people. Half on the altar and the other half on the people. Read.
And said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yah have made with you concerning all these words.
Again, this is why in a relationship, blood begins the process of a covenant. Covenant. Now, I might be wrong, but I think when they want to dedicate a building, they put a red ribbon. Is it a red ribbon? I might be wrong, maybe white. I think it's probably a red ribbon, but I might be wrong. And then they cut for us a ceremony and says, okay, or they would take a bottle of champagne and they'll burst, right?
Yeah, they actually
clip the head off of the bottle, and it just dedicate. The same thing with a marriage. There must be shedding of blood to consummate. Okay? This is all of these things is in nature, and it goes over our head. And that's why this is the way Yeshua taught the people, by using nature. It says, consider the lilies. Look. Look at the farmer. Look at this building. A man was building a house on sand. Look at all these different things. The classroom was outside. Not in some book, okay, take this and divide it by 10, do this and do that. That's not the way we learn in ancient times. We looked at the way things move. Our alphabet was based on different things, how things operate in nature. Okay? All right, so let's continue on. Let's go to chapter 31, and we'll go to verses 18. And I can, chapter 31, Exodus 31. We're almost done, Mishpachah. Just be patient. 31 and verses 18. Let's get 31. So, Moses went up to the mountain. The Most High gave him all this wisdom and understanding, and included in that, because when you read from 20 to 24, there's no mention whatsoever about the temple being built. But Moses went up. He left these words, the basic, to the people. They don't need to know about the temple. But when Moses went up to the mountain to receive the final copy, the Most High gave Moses all kinds of additional instructions about the temple, which is part of the way we operate as a government. When he came down from the mountain, the Ten Commandments, or the tables of stone included all of these writings. Okay? So when you read throughout 30s and so forth, 31 and 18, let's go there real quick. You want to read? Okay, let's read 17. 17.
Okay.
Pick it up a little bit for us. Verses.
Yes, so it's 15.
15, read.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yah. Whosoever doeth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yah made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Yahweh.
All right, so now we have 2 tables of testimony, and it says it was a fire that carved into the stone, right? A spark, right? Fire that was written right into the stone itself. 2 testimonies, 2 testicles, 2 with the seed, 2 tablets, 2. It's always this 2, 2, 2. All right, so what we see here is that he received a final copy. And I'm going to stop here. Let me go right down to the end. Next slide. Okay. He gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communion with him, end of speaking to him, upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, 2 tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. Notice when Elohim began to speak, and also when he stopped. You can do the research on your own and see when he began to speak and when he stopped. And when the final copy was delivered, everything that he was speaking to Moses was included on those 2 tables of stone. That's why this is not a Gentile book. It pertains to how our temple was to be constructed and all those different things. Yes?
It's the very same way that our temple are constructed, because the stones that the law was written on is also written on the testicles of the male.
That's right.
Okay? Written with the finger of God, because it was him who formed us by his own power in the holy place.
So let's go to the last slide, Kifa. And what we're going to do next week, most high willing, is, of course, tackle it a little more deeper. We wanted to just kind of touch on some of these things. Keep the last slide all the way to the end. Just keep scrolling to the end. Just right to the end, right there. So, yes, you want to say something? Both sides, that's correct. It was not just 2 tables of stone, but on both sides, the front and also the back.
That's 32:15.
32 and 15, that's correct.
But that's important about the front and back. You know, it's pretty important as far as giving it the first time and giving it again in the last days when we live this wilderness.
And even when Moses broke the Torah, the reason why Moses was able to break it, and the reason why the Most High was able to judge Israel and punish them, 3,000 souls died, was because they already had it in book form. So you can't beat a child unless they receive instructions and had plenty of time, 40 days and 40 nights to rehearse all of that. So this is why we must have the proper understanding, Mishpachah. The Most High is not some angry father up in heaven throwing brimstone and fire on people without he first giving them an opportunity to learn and understand Once you know the mind of the Father, you can say, well, those people who died in ignorance, he has to do what? Teach them again. He has given us many clues. People have died and were resurrected, and they died again. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. So don't be afraid of death and everything else. Now, the last slide here that I want to touch on, and then we're going to close. And if there's anybody who have any questions or anything that you want to touch on, if we can't answer it today, we'll probably leave it for next week. You can chime in. You have the phone number. Phone number again is 605-475-2875. Put in the code 9248738, and you can share your thoughts. You know, in our society, people think that those who are wealthy is really the one in charge. But guess what? They're all wrong. The man who knows how to plant the seed,
That's right.
he holds the power.
Amen.
The Most High chose David because David was like Abel, okay? He knew how to take care of animals. He knew about the seed, about taking care of the flock. Shepherd. A shepherd and farmers are in the same line. Okay?
Jacob likewise.
And he took that man and made him king over Israel. So even though David was king, David knew the agrarian lifestyle. He grew up as smelling just like the sheep. Okay? So looking at these pictures, you can see in all cultures, the most important. If the farmer doesn't exist anymore, guess what? There's no king. There's no taxes. There's no money. There's no power. There's no army to feed. You must have the shepherd and the farmer. Let's put it that way. Yes, Elder.
When we look at the most important people there, right there. If riches, money, or this thing was the most important thing, God will not have called on David as a farmer, and also all the tent makers. And look on, you see the potatoes, right?
These
the
are
Lord
peaches.
said, have food and raiment, be satisfied.
Yes.
So he didn't say have money and riches, this thing like that is the rest most important.
Seed is very, very, very important. When the conquistadors came to South America looking for, what's that place called again? The City of Gold. Forgot the name of it. They were shocked to see, although the people had gold, the most important treasure amongst the people were corn, maize. Corn. Gold. The gold for them was the golden corn. The maize. The seed was very, very important. Look at what the people did in Egypt. They sold themselves into slavery just to have a grain to eat. Just a grain. Grain can make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Grain. Bread is the staff of life. So it's important, Mishpachah, to understand how Shavuot works. It's a cycle. It pertains to the agriculture. It's not something that falls on a Sunday, like the world wants to believe. That's their calendar. All right? So, any questions? Anyone has any comments or anything to share? Keith, if you can go back to the first set of slides with the order of service, we're going to close out with in a moment with the Bezot HaTorah. Yeah, thank you. So let me go back up to. Yes, Elder.
Yeah, I should really said on this Shabbat day that it was a really important, a very important teaching today. You know, this teaching is good education to God's people, to just to remind us as we are in the diaspora, preparing ourselves for the returning of the Messiah.
That's right.
While people say these things are not important, it is very important to attach yourself back from the beginning what when the Messiah come that we'll be able to um, be with him. Otherwise, if we don't do that, we are not going to be with him. So I think this is very important.
That's right. It's important for us to let me see if I see anything here. Counting of Pentecost. Okay, can we download a schedule? I would like to know the name of the moon that goddess. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, well, people. Okay, so sister was saying I would like to know the name of the moon with that goddess on it. Well, today we have Luna, and things like that. But yeah, people will definitely apply like Sol or whatever SOL names to the luminaries or whatever it is. But we're not. First of all, we don't worship the moon. The moon and the sun and the stars. These are timepieces. Like you have the hour hand, the second hand, the minute hand, and so forth. These are all. We don't worship the watch. We use them as a tool to discern whatever already exists out there.
But the heathens, they do that. The heathens worship the host of heaven. The Bible talk about that.
That's right. Let me see if there's any. I know there's a lot of things that said in the chat room, so I'm not sure if I can get to all of it. But let's see. Okay. A lot of stuff here. Okay. Yes,
Hey,
brother.
buddy.
Yes, brother Shamar. Talk to me. Talk to us.
Yes. One thing I realized by studying this feast that's coming up, especially, is something that we as children actually are taught to do, but we're not reminded to practice. Listen to what I said. We are taught to do it when we're young, but we're not reminded to practice it, and that's to count, or to add, and to subtract, and to multiply.
Yeah.
These are the things that we need in this world in order to either become wealthy or successful and all of that. But here it is. This is the very thing that we need to practice, and to be reminded to practice, that actually will be there for salvation, but yet still, it's lacking among the Israel community. The Most High gave us this feast, and this feast is the feast that, it's kind of like the one that ties everything together, because what does he pour out? He pours out his spirit upon us, and he makes us holy as he is holy. So it's something that I noticed that, like Ella Flea said, if you get it wrong, if you don't have it done right, then in the end, it's just like a chain with a missing link. Nothing is actually tied together with it. So when you sit back and you watch this feast, if you don't realize that there's something that you have to sit back and count and have an understanding in order to come up to the right date, then you're gonna miss the opportunity to actually learn exactly what the full meaning of it is.
Yeah. Yes.
It's called an appointed time, and the appointed time has to be correct. You can't use any day for the appointed time, because he gave you specifics. He told you what to do. You start with the month and you count the 14th day, and he tells you when. So you can't pick any day you want or do anything out of the seasons and expect that everything is going to fall in place for you. Now, there is one thing I wanted to share also with the summer. It says in Matthew 24, Matthew 24 and 32, it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch, normally you hear a tree is a she, right? Because it's bear fruit, but it says his branch.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. Let's pay attention to words. They're very important.
Where are you reading from again?
And I'm reading from Matthew 24 and verse 32.
Okay.
When his branch, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that the summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, you know that it is near, even at the doors. So there is something quite significant about the summer.
That's right.
Okay, why he's telling you, pay attention to the fig tree putting forth their leaves, you know.
That's right.
And then you're getting ready to know springtime is when the fig tree put on their leaves.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's the springtime. And then they send those little fruits that come in with the flowers and all the little things. But then they ripen in the summer.
That's right.
You see? So he's telling you something is quite significant about the summertime. And you learn the parable. Who was the fig tree and why are they putting on leaves? What are the leaves? You know? Pay attention to words. That's how you learn.
Now, as you mentioned, pay attention to words. Brother Ivan posted in the chat room. He says 7 weeks plus 50 days.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, we have 50 days after unleavened. No, it's not 50 days after unleavened. It is the 7 Sabbaths first.
That's right.
Then you add the 50 days.
That's right.
Okay, so it's 7 Sabbaths after the unleavened, right?
Yes.
And then what?
And then you number 50 days.
So from the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's
You
not even
count.
right. It's not even after unleavened, but it's 7 Shabbats. Look, let's take a look here. The first Shabbat, of course, is the 22nd, which is today. This is after unleavened. That's
Right.
correct. And then you have 7 Sabbaths that passes
Right.
through.
Right.
Let me just mark it here. So you go from 1 all the way down to the 7th Sabbaths. That has to pass first.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, brothers and sisters, you start to count 50 days.
Because
50 days all the way through until you come down to Pentecost right here. Okay? I hope you all can see that. You can go back and review everything. You must complete the 7 Sabbaths first.
That's right.
Then you add the 50 days. And this will bring you right into the right season, which is the summer.
That's right.
So that you wouldn't have Pentecost occurring in the spring.
Right.
Right?
Because if you count only 7 Shabbats and you think the next day is is 50, whatever, you're not going to get the wheat harvest.
That's right.
You're not. Okay? And it's going to be in the spring. It's not going to be in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why he's telling you to add the 50 days from that point on, it will bring you way into the summer because, number one, wheat takes 100 to 110 days to mature. Okay? That takes you right into the summer.
Right. So if when the barley was smitten, that was in the spring, you just count 100 and whatever days it is. So you end up having what? 100 consists of what? 250s, right?
250s. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 100, 110 days. That's what normally, that's how much longer it takes to really to get mature.
Yeah. And again, one of the confusions is that we have been removed from the agricultural understanding of things. And we now look at things, well, everything is fast food. A chicken is hatched from the egg. Huh? And then all of a sudden, in a few days, you have a full-grown chicken. Yes, sir.
But even if we look at it just in 7 Shabbats, if you look at it from the time where the Feast of Unleavened Bread has ended, if you even add 7 Shabbats to that, it actually puts you closer to the end of 3 months before you even get into the beginning of the count of the 50 days. So it basically putting you closer to the ending of one season and starting you into the beginning of the next one. I'm just using just in today's mathematics, just by counting, say they use 4 weeks for 1 month or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You still would end up the end of spring somewhere when you add 7 Shabbats, because you have to go 7 full weeks before you even get there using their calendar.
Yeah,
so at that time, you still would be at the end of spring, and you still would have to count 50 days, so it wouldn't leave you in the spring anyway.
That's right. So even though you're at the end of spring, you're not you have to transition over into summer.
But you must remember the words of Yeshua. He told you, are there not yet 4 months? 4 months, and then comes the harvest.
Yeah. All right, Mishpachah. Any other thing on your mind? And then we're going to go right and close out with the Vizot HaTorah. 3 weeks the chickens hatch. Yeah, but after that,
And then 21 days they're on the table to eat.
21 days they're on the table to eat.
That's what the
Wow.
Sabbath is.
Okay, so that's the dilemma. That's the world in which we live right now. So, brothers and sisters, we're going to stop here. Thank you all for fellowshipping with us, and we're going to close out with the Bezot HaTorah, okay?
We'll have to count for them. Like every Shabbat that comes, we'll tell them this is the count of number 2, and this is Shabbat number 3.
Okay, so this is the first Shabbat.
Yeah, this is Shabbat number 1.
Shabbat number 1. Okay, so mark that, number 1. Next week will be number 2, and so forth. This is a count. You got to follow the Shabbats first, and then after that, count the days. Okay? All right. We all ready?
Vezot HaTorah Asher Sayam Moshe B'nei Yisrael Al-Peh Adonai B'yad Moshe. And this is the Torah that Moses placed before the children of Israel at the command of Yahuwah
through Moses' hand.
Amen.
Now I could have, of course, 2 of them like this, but all praises to our King. We're gonna sing the Heights Kam He. It's the tree of life. Ready?
Heights Kam He Lama Kazikimba Vetomi Keha Meusha Lirakeha Dakenoam Vekol Netivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elekavena Shuva Kadesh Kadesh Yamenu Kadesh Yamenu Kekedem. It is a tree of life to those who take hold of it, and those who support it are praiseworthy. Its ways are the ways of pleasantness, and all its paths a peace. Bring us back, Yahweh, to you, and we shall come. Renew our days as of old.
Hallelujah. We're going to ask Kiefer to close out with prayer. Dear holy and eternal Father in heaven, creator of all things, both great and small, in honor of your word, dear Father, and your commandments, we have given the thought, the understanding, and homage to you. All praises to your name. All praises to all that you have created and done. We thank you, Father, for the words that you have blessed the teacher and his family, and all those that are listening, both nationwide, worldwide, and in every venue, live stream and on the phones. Dear Father, we ask that you would pour out a special blessing as you have created from the creation of time, that we are to honor your word and that we will be blessed likewise. We thank you for all that you have offered and offerings that you have given for us to return to you. Likewise, we thank you for the food of the earth, from each herb that was given for the healing of the nations and for everyone. We thank you for your Passover, your Shabbats, and the feasts that we acknowledge, and the days of Sabbath that you have given us. Bless us, dear Father. Remember the whole house of Israel. Remember the peace of Jerusalem, and keep us in health and strength until the days of come and shortness that you render us back to Jerusalem, the land of milk and honey. We thank you. And all these things we praise your name continually, as we will do, as we said in Deuteronomy 28. Amen. Amen. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmarecha, Ya'ar Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yehovah bless you and keep you. Yehovah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yehovah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to all our listeners. Shofar. Shofarot.
Blessings to you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Blessings and peace.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Hallelujah. All praises. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Until next time.
Shabbat shalom. Until next time.
Zorim Tov.
Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.
Brother Yona.
Yes, sir.
Brother Yona.
Yes, sir.
Hey, is there a downloadable format for the fee schedules?
The fee schedule. I can send I can send out an estimated. I can only send out an estimate of as far as when that's going to occur. But we still have to look to the heavens to know 100% sure. Okay.
Okay. And now
that
the part of your lesson that you had today with the counting the Sabbaths, can we download that from somewhere?
I can. No, I mean, as far as this teaching, you want to be able to download this teaching?
I guess the schedule that you use to count the Sabbath to Pentecost.
Okay.
You had it on you had the visual aid on the screen.
Yeah. Tell you what, send me an email. You have my email address?
Yes, I do.
Okay, send me.
Obadiah.
Okay, Brother Obadiah, send me a request, and I will see that. Just tell me exactly what you're looking for, and let me try to get that out. Okay, to everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Shabbat shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom, brother. Shabbat shalom. Love you all. Stay strong and sharp. Blessings to you all. Shalom.